Hi Virgo, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of November. We start the month with Mercury retrograde, which you're a sign very familiar with because Mercury rules your chart. And Mercury initially retrograded on October 13th in Scorpio at 11 degrees and 40 minutes in your house of communication and thoughts and ideas. And it formed an opposition to Uranus when it initially retrograded. So perhaps you got some unexpected information. And again, this rules your chart, and it was in your house of thoughts and information. So I imagine you got some information uncovered, and it's a good time to reassess how you're learning, how you're thinking, returning to writing projects. And then it re-entered Libra on October 27th in your house of income and money and value. And so it's, we begin the month with Mercury retrograde. It squares Saturn in Capricorn on November 1st. And that's kind of a reality check for all of us because Saturn makes us aware of our limitations. And this whole Capricorn tale of restructuring has been in your house of romance and creativity and joy. And we've been in such a difficult year, but it's about really assessing how you can be creative, how you can find happiness in a tough time and joy in little things perhaps. And so on the 3rd of November, Mercury is officially direct at 25 degrees and 54 minutes of Libra. And then on the 6th of November, it squares Saturn a second time. Again, a reality check for all of us. Realistically delays because Mercury is still just having gone direct and squaring Saturn, which is restrictive. On the 9th of November, Venus in Libra in your house of income forms an opposition to Mars in Aries in your house of intimacy and wounds and joint resources and other people's money. And that could be, it can be a creative aspect, but it can be a bit challenging around money. And Mars has been transiting in your house of assets and joint resources since June 27th, and it's stationed retrograde at 28 degrees of the cardinal fire sign of Aries on September 9th during your birthday season. And it stations direct on November 13th. But like Mercury, it is a personal planet. Mercury stations retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. Mars only retrogrades once every 2 years. And the last time it was in Aries or in this area of your chart was in 1988. So it's really a time to assess your financial assets, debt, taxes, but also inner healing work. If there are blocked wounds, we've been in such a painful year, doing some inner work to bring some transformation, to bring some empowerment in this tough time. And so that's something to bear in mind. But we begin the month with both of those planets retrograde, so it's kind of intense to get things done. And on the later on the 9th of November, early into the 10th of November, depending on what time zone you're in, the sun in Scorpio, which is transiting in your house of communication and ideas, forms a beautiful trine to Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune has been transiting in your house of relationships on and off since 2011. And this is a really magical aspect of creativity and romance and just a really nice aspect. So something you want to take advantage of. It's a very compassionate energy, but also could be good for networking and perhaps for a date or meeting somebody new or just having fun in your relationship. And on the 10th of November, Mercury re-enters the sign of Scorpio and re-enters your third house of communication, where it'll be transiting until November 21st. So now it's direct and moving ahead. On the 12th of November, we have a really magical aspect that I think all of us should target and maybe plan something with. There is a conjunction of Jupiter, the luckiest planet, with Pluto, the planet of transformation and power. And the two meet up at 22 degrees of Capricorn. And they've met up two other times this year, on April 4th and June 30th at 24 degrees of Capricorn. Now this immediately and exactly sets off the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on January 12th that changed the world. And this helps us to bring some healing and transformative energy and work and manifesting regarding such a difficult year. And it's a great time for meditation and manifesting if you're able to do so with a group in some way. It's an excellent time to do so. Do your own inner work. It's excellent for financial partnerships, and it's a very successful combination. It's the third and final pairing of the two. And on the 13th of November, we've got Mars stationing direct at 15 degrees and 14 minutes of Aries. And this falls in your 8th house of joint resources and money and blocked wounds. And Mars will be in Aries until January 6th. So you have a few more months to really focus on repairing your finances, for doing some healing work. Mars retrograde has brought up a lot of shadow issues for all of us regarding anger and pain. And this is an excellent time for taking accountability with this. I mean, for all of us, we have to work hard during this time. It just, that's the Capricorn story, and we're almost done with it. And for you, the whole restructuring story has been in your house of creativity and love affairs. And so in a sense, it's finding your joy and finding your creativity. And you will, we all will get through this eventually. It's just really finding joy in little things. On the 14th of November, the Sun in Scorpio forms beautiful aspects to both Jupiter and Pluto, and that's expansive and empowering. And again, the Sun's transiting in your house of ideas, and all of the planets that are in Capricorn, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, are currently transiting in your house of creativity. So excellent for creative projects. On the 15th of November, we have a new moon that takes place at 23 degrees of Scorpio. It's a tricky new moon because the Venus squares Pluto that day, and Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and that can be triangles, that can be endings in relationships, or financial strife in some way. So it's a tricky new moon, but nonetheless, the new moon is an excellent time for setting intentions. So definitely write down intentions that day. It is in your house of communication. So, saying them out loud, writing them down, and working with that energy. On the 17th of November, Mercury in Scorpio forms an opposition to Uranus and Taurus, and that could be unexpected news. It can be innovative, but a bit, a little chaotic. And then on the 19th of November, Venus in Libra, in your second house of income, where it'll be transiting until November 21st, forms a square to Saturn in your house of creativity. And that can be a bit challenging. That's not the easiest energy, but it's a temporary one. And then on the 20th of November, Mercury clears its shadow, meaning the degree at which it initially stationed retrograde on October 13th. So that really gets us moving forward in an easier fashion. And then on the 21st of November, the Sun exits Scorpio and enters your fourth house of home and family and real estate. It enters the sign of Sagittarius, where it'll be until December 21st. And that's good for finding joy at home, and it's also your emotional foundation and security. Venus also changes signs that day and exits the sign of Libra, where it's in its rulership, and enters Scorpio. It's very sexy in Scorpio, but it can be a bit challenging because it's actually in its detriment. But it will be transiting in your house of communication, so that can be very creative for you, and it will be there until December 15th. On November 27th, Mercury in Scorpio forms in opposition to Uranus and Taurus, and that can be a bit, fiery or unexpected information. On the 28th of November, Neptune stations direct, and we feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. And that's very foggy, even though it is going direct. Again, because Mercury is transiting in Scorpio, maybe secrets get uncovered. It just could be very dreamy energy. And we do conclude the month with a lunar eclipse that occurs on November 30th at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time at 8 degrees and 38 minutes of Gemini. And this falls in your house of career. And it's just 1 degree from the world axis, which is anything at 7 degrees of the mutable signs. And they are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. This could bring culmination and fruition to something you've been working on. Maybe there's a project you've been working on for a while. It can bring a release and an ending. Neptune is squaring the nodes of fate in that lunar eclipse. So again, there could be hidden information that's uncovered, but it also can be highly creative and intuitive energy and very emotional because Neptune is involved in it. But lunar eclipses tend to be. It's like a full moon on steroids. So I wish you a lot of luck. We're almost done with this restructuring story, and we're about to get ready for the age of Aquarius in December. So good luck, everybody. Thank you. Take care.